John, behind all of this, from the point of view of the Conservatives, there is the assumption that somehow, in the next few weeks, we get a general election. Jeremy Corbyn has said that he will give an election as soon as the the delay has been agreed, and that in that election the Conservatives will win and reverse everything that has happened this autumn. Are they being a little optimistic?
They're not necessarily being over-optimistic. I mean, there's a poll in today's Observer which has the Conservatives 15 points ahead of Labour, with the Democrats rather surprisingly falling back quite substantially. And if that indeed is accurate, then certainly that would result in an overall majority for the Conservatives, and an overall majority which presumably would enable the Prime Minister to deliver a no-deal Brexit should he be minded to do so. So certainly, yes, to that extent at least, an election is possible. But it has to be said there are other polls out there that aren't quite so good for the Conservatives. Probably a reasonable judgment at the moment is that maybe there's something like a 50% chance that the Conservatives would manage to win an election, but equally a 50% chance that we might end up with a hung parliament, perhaps not that dissimilar from the one that we have at the moment.
Lordy, lordy, lordy. And in all of this, it's quite a complicated situation because we don't know how this Brexit saga is going to play out. We don't know whether he's going to have to delay beyond October the 31st, how he's going to get round that, and therefore we don't know how the Brexit party is going to do.
Indeed, and this is what is crucial. In a sense, the opportunity for Boris Johnson to be able to win a general election lies on two foundations. The first is that the Conservative Party has been relatively successful during the course of the summer in squeezing the Brexit Party vote, and over half of those who voted Leave in 2016 now say they'd vote for the Conservatives, whereas only around a quarter say they'd vote for the Brexit Party. And if those numbers get pushed a bit further, then the Conservatives are in clear territory. So that's foundation number one. Foundation number two is the relative success of the Democrats in dividing up the Remain vote. They are now competing quite heavily with Labour for the Remain vote, or again, today's poll in the Observer suggests maybe they've fallen back a bit. But it's the fact that the Leave vote has, to a fair degree, united behind the Tories, albeit still not at level opinion poll ratings for the Tories that are particularly high overall, and has divided between Labour and the Democrats. That means, therefore, the Conservatives can look forward to the prospect of an election, and certainly why some are sort of the view that the idea that Labour Party should be willing to acquiesce in an early election, well, shall we say, they will be taking quite a considerable risk with their prospects.
That old word, bold, of them to be doing so.
It is indeed, but it may be a case whereby a party has, to some degree, become the prisoner of its past rhetoric, even though actually following that past rhetoric may not necessarily be in its interest.